Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to The Explainer. The Middle East is commanding the world's attention once again, but this isn't just some isolated dispute. We're literally watching a massive web of overlapping crises converge on what is arguably the most critical maritime choke point on the planet, the Strait of Hormuz.
So, could this crisis escalate further? That right there is the multi-trillion-dollar question for governments and global shippers everywhere. We aren't just talking about regional borders here. We're talking about the uninterrupted flow of global energy and really the stability of the entire international economy. When tensions flare up in this specific part of the world, nobody can afford to ignore it.
Here's how we're going to break it down today. First, we'll look at the Strait of Hormuz itself. Second, competing claims and military posturing. Third, the global economic threat. Fourth, wildcards and shifting alliances. And fifth, we'll wrap up with 3 paths forward.
All right, Section 1, the Strait of Hormuz. To put this in perspective, the Strait of Hormuz connects the Persian Gulf directly to international waters. And its importance, well, it simply cannot be overstated. We're talking roughly 21 million barrels of oil passing through here every single day. That's a fifth of global consumption, squeezing through a shipping lane that is, get this, only 2 miles wide in either direction in some places. That incredibly tight geographic reality is exactly why even a rumor of disruption, a shift in military positioning or a diplomatic spat, sends immediate shockwaves right through global markets.
Moving on to Section 2, competing claims and military posturing.
And this brilliantly illustrates the core diplomatic friction at play. On one side, you had the United States and its Western allies absolutely insisting that international shipping routes must remain secure and unrestricted for global trade. But on the flip side, Iran argues that its legitimate security concerns and strategic regional rights have to be recognized. It's a classic standoff. Both sides are fiercely protecting their strategic interests, neither side wants to appear weak, and regional neighbors are just caught right in the middle.
Because of these competing claims, we're seeing this fascinating, high-stakes dual reality playing out. On the surface, there's a lot of visible military pressure. U.S. warships and fighter aircraft are deployed, missile defense systems are fully active, while Iran continuously demonstrates its significant regional influence. But behind closed doors, diplomacy is working in absolute overdrive. Pakistan is reportedly mediating between Tehran and Washington, Gulf states are scrambling with emergency discussions, and international diplomats are frantically working back channels to cool things down. It's this incredibly delicate balance of visible military muscle and quiet, urgent negotiation.
Okay, Section 3, the global economic threat.
If that diplomacy actually fails, the economic consequences are going to cascade instantly. International energy prices will spike, and yeah, that hits us all at the gas pump almost immediately. Shipping insurance costs for vessels in the region will completely skyrocket, which triggers severe trade route delays. For a global economy that is already just completely exhausted by supply chain battles, injecting a massive energy shock into the mix means one thing for sure: an aggressive resurgence of global inflation pressures.
And the impact here is heavily skewed toward Asia and Europe. We're talking about highly dependent economies like China, India, Japan, and several European nations. The really crucial takeaway here: a country can have absolutely zero political involvement in this standoff and still have its economy completely crippled if instability chokes off the Strait of Hormuz.
That brings us to Section 4, wildcards and shifting alliances.
The triggers for a sudden crisis are literally everywhere. It could be a sudden, unexpected naval confrontation in those narrow waters,
A targeted or even misdirected drone strike in highly contested airspace, a commercial shipping incident involving a massive oil tanker,
Or honestly, perhaps most dangerously, a purely accidental escalation. In a highly militarized zone like this, any single one of these rapid-fire scenarios could spark a chain of events that just completely outpaces the speed of diplomatic communication.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the complex web of underlying issues making a simple compromise almost impossible. You see, the crisis in the Strait doesn't just exist in a vacuum. First, you have unresolved nuclear disagreements and uranium enrichment concerns hanging over everything. Second, intense domestic political pressure means leaders in both Washington and Tehran really need to appear strong to their own supporters. Third, Israel holds deep concerns over Iranian military capabilities and regional influence. And fourth, you've got Gulf states desperately trying to balance security with their own long-term economic and billion-dollar tourism projects. It's a highly interconnected, incredibly fragile ecosystem.
Let's look at Section 5. 3 paths forward. Experts generally point to 3 likely paths for the coming months. Path 1 is successful diplomacy, where tensions quietly decrease and markets stabilize. Path 2 is continued uncertainty. This means tensions remain high, negotiations drag out slowly, and we see occasional, localized incidents causing instability, but without triggering a full-scale war. Analysts actually believe this is the most likely short-term outcome. And finally, Path 3, accidental escalation, where a major incident spirals completely beyond diplomatic control.
Look, this isn't just another political dispute on the evening news. Millions of people and businesses all around the globe are waiting for the answer to one incredibly crucial question. Can global powers manage these dangerous tensions without allowing them to spiral into a wider, devastating conflict? Every single diplomatic meeting, every military movement, every statement from a political leader matters right now. The world is watching closely, and the decisions made in the coming days are going to shape the global economy for years to come.